Welcome back to Auto Pulse, the channel where we bring you the untold stories of legendary automobiles and motorcycles that shaped history. Today, we dive into the legacy of one of the most iconic motorcycle brands of all time, Matchless Motorcycles. If you're a fan of classic British engineering, speed, and the golden era of motorcycling, then stick around because this is going to be a ride through time like no other. Matchless is a name that resonates with history, passion, and power. It was one of the earliest motorcycle manufacturers, a pioneer that set benchmarks for design and performance. Unlike many brands that faded away, the legend of Matchless still burns bright among collectors and vintage bike enthusiasts. But how did it all start? What made Matchless stand out, and where does the brand stand today? Let's find out. The story of Matchless begins in 1899, in London, England. It was founded by Henry Herbert Collier, a man with an unshakable vision for two-wheeled machines. Initially, the company produced bicycles, but the Industrial Revolution and the rise of combustion engines pushed them towards innovation. By 1901, Matchless had created its first motorized bicycle, marking the birth of a brand that would soon dominate the roads. The early 1900s were an exciting time for motorcycling, with companies competing to build the fastest and most reliable machines. Matchless quickly established itself as a leader in this new frontier. In 1907, the company entered the first Isle of Man TT race, the most prestigious motorcycle race in the world. It didn't win, but the experience laid the foundation for future successes. By 1909, Matchless was producing motorcycles with their own frames and engines sourced from top suppliers like Jap and Mag. These machines weren't just beautifully crafted but also packed with serious performance, making them a favorite among speed enthusiasts. What set Matchless apart from the competition? It was a combination of quality engineering, innovative design, and racing pedigree. Unlike many manufacturers that simply assembled parts, Matchless focused on designing complete motorcycles. Their attention to detail made them highly respected in the industry. One of their early breakthroughs came in 1912 with the introduction of the Matchless Model 7, a 500cc single-cylinder motorcycle. It was lightweight, easy to handle, and became a favorite among both racers and casual riders. But then, World War I changed everything. During the war, Matchless shifted its focus to producing motorcycles for the British military. These rugged machines played a crucial role in communication and transportation on the battlefield. This period solidified Matchless as a manufacturer capable of building durable and reliable motorcycles under extreme conditions. When the war ended, Matchless returned to the civilian market, stronger than ever. By the 1920s, they introduced a range of motorcycles with side valve and overhead valve engines, gaining a reputation for both performance and comfort. This was also the decade when Matchless adopted its famous winged M logo, a badge that would soon become legendary. The 1930s was a golden era for Matchless. It was during this time that they acquired AJS Motorcycles, another famous British brand. This move expanded their production capabilities and allowed them to experiment with new designs. One of the standout models of this era was the Matchless Silverhawk, a 592cc V4 motorcycle introduced in 1931. It was one of the most advanced motorcycles of its time, featuring an overhead camshaft and enclosed valve gear technologies that were way ahead of their time. By the late 1930s, Matchless had become one of the biggest names in British motorcycling. Their motorcycles were not just powerful but also stylish, with their signature teardrop fuel tanks, chrome accents, and comfortable riding position. Then came World War II, and once again, Matchless was called upon to serve the military. Their G3L model became the standard motorcycle for the British Army. With its 350cc engine and telehydraulic front suspension, it was one of the most advanced military bikes of the time. This rugged machine was praised for its durability, smooth ride, and ability to handle rough terrain with ease. After the war, Matchless returned to the civilian market with an updated range of motorcycles. The post-war period was dominated by the Matchless G80, a 500cc single-cylinder bike that became an instant classic. It was reliable, stylish, and had that distinctive British charm. The 1950s and 1960s saw Matchless reach its peak in racing. They were heavily involved in the Isle of Man TT, with riders like Derek Minter and Mike Halewood dominating the tracks. The Matchless G50, a 500cc single-cylinder race bike, became a favorite among racers, known for its lightweight frame and exceptional handling. But as the 1960s rolled on, the British motorcycle industry faced stiff competition from Japanese manufacturers like Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki. These brands introduced faster, cheaper, and more reliable motorcycles, making it difficult for traditional British manufacturers to keep up. By the late 1960s, Matchless, like many other British motorcycle brands, began to struggle financially. The company merged with Associated Motorcycles, AMC, which later became part of Norton Villiers, but it wasn't enough to save the brand. Production eventually ceased in 1966, marking the end of an era. Matchless, a brand that had once ruled the roads and racetracks, had fallen victim to changing times and economic pressures. But the story doesn't end there. Today, Matchless motorcycles are highly sought after by collectors and enthusiasts. Their vintage bikes fetch high prices at auctions, and their legacy lives on through clubs and restorers who keep the brand alive. In fact, in 2012, the Matchless name was revived by the Malnati family, with plans to produce modern motorcycles that capture the spirit of the original brand. While the new models are rare, the legacy of Matchless as one of the greatest British motorcycle brands remains intact. Their innovations in suspension, racing technology, and military motorcycles have left a lasting impact on the world of motorcycling. So, what do you think about Matchless motorcycles? Have you ever seen one in person, or do you own one? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into motorcycle history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more amazing content from Auto Pulse. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next ride.